If we shouldn't punish harshly, then how do we correct our children effectively? If this is one of the questions you've been asking yourself, then this video is for you. Hi Impact parents, welcome to Parenting for Impact, and today we're looking at the practical ways you can discipline your children instead of punish them. In our last video, we talked about punishment versus discipline. If you want to really understand the concepts and what we're about to talk about, I would love you to just go check out that video before you start watching this one. So I want to share with us today the practical ways you can actually discipline your children without having to hurt their spirits. I'll begin by saying discipline is not a reaction but a responsibility. Yes, discipline is a responsibility, and there are ways we can actually discipline our children without hurting them. Quickly, I want us to dive into the video. The first way to discipline our children is to allow natural consequences. Teach them. Allow natural consequences. Teach them. Let your child experience the result of their action. So, for example, if a child refuses to pack their toys, so you told your child to pack their toys. If they refuse, instead of shouting or beating them, calmly says, all right, since you refuse to pack this toy, you are not going to play with this toy tomorrow. Now the next day comes and the child does not see those toys to play with, or the toys are not available to this child. That moment teaches the child that my actions have consequences. No shouting, no beating. This kind of discipline sticks better. Second way to discipline our children without hurting their spirits is to use calm correction and explanation. So instead of shouting, take a moment to calm down. Calm down and tell them, explain to them what they did. So explain to them that, oh, what you did is wrong. So for example, if your child talks rudely back at you, most parents want to immediately correct their children, shout back at them. Instead, you calm down and later go back to them. I don't like the way you spoke to me. That was really disrespectful. Next time, speak calmly or talk to me in this manner. The child might not respond immediately, but they're actually learning how to communicate properly next time and not just avoiding punishments. The third way to actually discipline our children without hurting their spirit is to use the time in method, reflection for emotional regulation. So instead of timers where the child is in isolation or exile, timing is sitting with the parent until the heart is calm enough to talk. So for example, if two siblings are fighting and one hits the other, instead of rushing to react in anger, you take that child and you ask them to come sit close to you. Or you say something like, oh, come sit close to me until you are calm enough to talk. So the child sit close to you, and when that child is calm enough, you then ask, why did you hit your brother? Now, at this time, the child begins to reflect and say, oh, this is what he did, da, 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 da. And that way you are teaching them emotional regulation and not just to react in chaos. The child begins to learn. At that moment, you can also teach their hearts the right thing to do the next time. The fourth way to discipline our children without having to hurt their spirit is to remove certain privileges. So discipline can also mean removing something that they value so much. For example, no TV, no cell phone, no tablets, no playtime. So for instance, a child refuses to do their homework and they keep playing game, or they keep running around playing and doing all of that in the house. What you can say to them at this moment, so you can say something like, since you refuse to go do your homework, there'll be no TV today, or you are not going to have your cell phone for the next 1 week. So you withdraw that thing that they love so much and you keep it. At first they may be upset, but over time they begin to understand, if I don't do the right thing, I will lose certain privileges. This teaches them that actions have consequences without damaging their spirit. That's discipline and not punishment. The fifth way to discipline our children without hurting their spirit is what I call positive reinforcement. Instead of focusing on their bad behavior, reinforce the good one. If you catch them doing something right, praise them for doing it, acknowledge it. So, for instance, your child usually forgets to greet people, but on a particular day, they greeted without being told. Instead of ignoring it, oh, tell them, oh, you just greeted. I love that. That was very respectful. Ah, wow, you have grown, you are learning. That way, they feel seen. They understand that, oh, I just did the right thing. And they are likely to repeat that same behavior again. Instead of focusing on the wrong things they do, begin to look for the good things they do right and praise them for it. The sixth method to discipline our children without having to hurt their spirit is what I call the restitution method, fixing what is broken. Instead of suffering pain, the child must make it right. So, for instance, a child talks rudely to his or her sibling. So instead of punishing them or shouting at them, they will have to do an act of service for that sibling. So maybe they will go clean their room, help them make their bed, just do something that maybe wash, do their chores for them. So they make it right for doing something wrong. This particular method mirrors the scriptural concept of repentance. It is not about feeling bad, it's about turning around and repairing the relationship. So it's not about feeling bad, but it's about turning around to repair the relationship. The seventh way to discipline your children without having to hurt their spirit is what I call the redo technique, practicing excellence. So instead of punishing them for a bad behavior or action, you make them to practice the right one. So for example, your child slams the door. You call them and say, oh, come in. We don't treat our home like that, or we don't slam the door here. Open the door, close it gently. Do that 3 times. And the child does that. He opens the door, you tell him, close it gently. Opens the door, close it gently. Opens the door, close it gently. 3 times. What you're actually doing is that you are retraining their brain to do the right thing. So this particular method is focusing on mentorship, and you're actually training them up according to Proverbs 22 verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go. So that's training. You are building up their muscle memory of good behavior without having to hurt their spirit. Do you see the difference? Other ways you can actually discipline your child without having to hurt their spirit. The eighth way is to give choices. So you want your child to wear a particular shoe. If you and they refuse, so you just say something like, give them choices. Would you want to wear the red or the white? That way they don't have to argue. They are going to only choose between two options, white or red shoe. So that way you don't have to really stress yourself. Another way is to set expectations. You can set expectations. So for example, you are going to a particular place, maybe you are going to a particular place, a neighbor's house to visit someone. You tell your child before you get there, when you get to this place, I want you to sit quietly. This is how I want you to behave. So you've already set expectations on how you want your child to behave. Oh, I want you to sit closely beside me and don't leave my side until I say so. Your child already understands what you want of them or you want them to do even before getting into that space. That is another way we can actually discipline our children. We must understand this. Discipline is not about control. It's about coaching a child through wisdom. We must begin to shift from fear-based obedience to teaching-based discipline. When we shift from fear-based obedience to teaching-based discipline, we are not just raising children or a child who is compliant. We are raising adults who will do the right thing even when no one is watching. Let's understand this. Punishment may stop a child for today, but discipline shapes them for life. So the next time your child does something wrong, ask yourself, am I responding in wisdom? If you found this video helpful, I want you to like, subscribe, and share this video with a family. And I want to see your comments in the comment section. Which of these discipline methods do you find most interesting and will you begin to apply in your home today? Don't forget, I remain Philomena Eremuta and I'll see you in my next video.